Why do I still feel pain from the past? Some people are not suffering because the past happened. They are suffering because their body never realized it ended. You can leave a house, leave a relationship, leave a painful year, and still emotionally live there. Because pain does not disappear when the moment passes. Pain disappears when the mind finally feels safe enough to stop replaying it. And most people never reach that moment. You laugh with people, you work, you continue your life, but something inside you still reacts like danger is near. A certain song changes your mood. A certain voice makes your chest heavy. A certain memory appears out of nowhere, and suddenly your energy disappears. Not because you are weak, but because unhealed pain does not stay in the past. It hides inside the nervous system, inside silence, inside ordinary moments. That is why some people become emotionally tired without understanding why. They think they need motivation, but what they truly need is emotional release. There are people who have not fully rested in years, not physically, emotionally, because every day their mind keeps reopening old doors, replaying conversations, replaying betrayals, replaying regrets, replaying who they used to be. And the strangest part is this: sometimes the pain is no longer about the event itself. It becomes about identity. You no longer ask, why did this happen? You secretly ask, what did this pain turn me into? That is the hidden wound most people never talk about. The fear that suffering changed them forever. A woman smiles in public, but checks her phone in fear because someone once shattered her trust. A man keeps joking with everyone because silence reminds him of abandonment. Someone keeps overworking because slowing down forces them to feel. Another person keeps entering toxic situations because chaos feels more familiar than peace. And they all think, this is just my personality. But sometimes it is survival mode wearing your face. Here is the truth almost nobody realizes. The mind repeats pain when it believes the lesson was never completed. That is why old memories return at night, not to torture you, but to be understood differently. Because unresolved pain always searches for meaning. Ancient teachers across many civilizations believe something powerful. They believe that the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. In ancient wisdom traditions, emotional suffering was not seen as weakness, it was seen as trapped energy, unprocessed grief, unspoken truth, frozen fear, They believed that people carried invisible emotional weight, the same way travelers carried stones in a bag. And over time, those invisible stones became identity. That is why some people no longer know where their personality ends and where their pain begins. Most people try to heal incorrectly. They try to erase the memory. But healing was never about forgetting. Real healing happens when the memory no longer controls your nervous system. When you can remember something without emotionally drawing inside. That is freedom. And this is where many people get stuck because they secretly believe, if I let go of this pain, then what happened to me did not matter. So they hold on to suffering as proof that the experience was real. But pain is not the only evidence that your story mattered. Your survival is evidence too. Some people became so used to emotional tension that peace feels suspicious. Calm feels unfamiliar. Love feels unsafe. Stillness feels uncomfortable because the body adapts to emotional storms. And after years of survival, peace can feel empty at first. That is why healing is terrifying for some people. Not because they love pain, but because pain became familiar. And here's the deeper truth. The past is not hurting you every day. Your relationship with the past is. Because two people can experience the same wounds. And one builds wisdom, while the other builds a prison. The difference is not the pain. The difference is the meaning attached to it. There's an ancient story about people who carried broken pottery. Instead of throwing it away, they repaired the cracks with gold. Not to hide the damage, but to honor survival. Ancient wisdom understood something modern people forget. A scar is not always proof of destruction. Sometimes it is proof that something survived what was supposed to destroy it. Many people are waiting for closure from others, an apology, an explanation, a return, a final conversation. But some wounds never receive external closure. And this is the painful awakening. Sometimes healing begins when you stop waiting for the person who hurts you to become the person who heals you. The real reason the past still hurts is because part of you is still emotionally protecting yourself from something that's already ended. Your body is standing guard over an old battlefield, even though the war is over. And slowly, this becomes exhaustion. It becomes overthinking, emotional numbness, people pleasing, fear of being seen, fear of being abandoned, fear of relaxing. Not because you are broken, because your mind learns survival too well. But listen carefully, dear friend. You do not heal by fighting the memory every day. You heal by teaching your nervous system that this moment is different from the past, that you survived, that you no longer stay there. And this is where everything connects. There is one scripture that speaks directly to this hidden exhaustion. That is Isaiah 43, verse 18 to 19. It says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing." Notice something important. It does not say past never happened. No, it says, do not dwell there. Because dwelling there is different from remembering. One honors the lesson, the other keeps reopening the wound. So here's a different kind of healing practice. Not positive affirmations, not pretending to be okay, but this. Do this tonight. Sit in silence for a few minutes and ask yourself one question. What part of me is still trying to survive something that already ended? Do not rush the answer. Just listen. Because awareness is the first moment healing begins. Not when pain disappears, but when the hidden pattern finally becomes visible. Yes. Imagine a tree during winter. From the outside, it looks lifeless. It looks still, empty, silent. But deep underground, the roots are quietly preparing for another season. Human healing works the same way. Just because growth is visible does not mean growth is absent. And maybe the reason you still feel pain from the past is not because you failed to heal. Maybe it is because your mind has been carrying emotional weight along for too long. Maybe your exhaustion was never weakness. Maybe it was unprocessed grief asking to be seen. One day, you will remember certain moments without feeling your chest tighten. One day, peace will stop feeling unfamiliar. One day, you realize you were never becoming weaker. You were becoming aware. And sometimes, awareness is the first door back to yourself. My dear friend, I want to hear from you. What part of this felt like your life? Listening to the message, what did you first realize the past was still living inside you? Let me know in the comments. Let's share so that others listening will also pick inspiration from. Thanks so much for being with me. I am ThePZipporah.